What's up everyone, Tally with Unstable Commanders bringing you our very first cEDH gameplay, joined by Spit, my co-host, and two other guests, Fro and Edskeleton. Before we do get started, I just want to quickly say if you do like the video, hit that like button and comment down below what other decks we should be playing, and subscribe to our channel for more content. Also, follow us on Twitter X at UCommanders for giveaway opportunities. To introduce the decks, first off we have Fro playing Urza Stacks, Edskeleton playing Elsha Tempo, Spit playing Reyhan Kraum Boogernaz, and myself playing Atraxa Cookie Nom Noms. Let's fight! Spit is starting. He is playing a Breeding Pool untapped, taking 2 life. Then tapping the Breeding Pool for a Mystic Remora, then passing the turn over to me. I just went ahead and played a tapped Breeding Pool just to not feed the fish and pass it over to Ed. On Ed's turn, he plays an untapped Steam Vent, taking 2 damage. Then tapping that for Dragon's Rage Channeler, then passing over to Fro. Fro then goes, plays an island, then passes over to Spit. Yeah, nobody feeds the fish, cause screw the fish. Then on Spit's turn, he does pay 1 to keep the fish, and plays the Gemstone Caverns, then passes the turn over to me. I just go ahead and play Tropical Island and say go. Then on Ed's turn, he actually doesn't play anything, because he said he would have fed the fish if he did, so he just passed the turn over Fro. Then Fro plays a second island and plays a reality chip, then passes the turn. On Spit's turn, he does pay 2 to keep the fish, then plays and cracks a Polluted Delta to find a Badlands, then passes the turn over to me. Then I went ahead and played a Savannah for turn. Thought about not playing anything, but went ahead and just started going with a Jeweled Lotus, followed up by a Lotus Petal, letting Spit draw 2. So that way I can just go ahead and cast my commander, Atraxa. Everyone passed priority, so I went ahead and looked at the top 10 cards. For artifact, I picked Soaring. For land, I picked Misty Rainforest. For an instant, I picked Pact of Negation. Then for creature, I picked the Grand Arbiter. Then I went ahead and discarded 2 and passed it over to Ed. So on Ed's turn, he does play a Flooded Strand, cracks it, and shortcuts to play a Cursed Totem. It doesn't really affect anyone but Fro, so we were all okay with it except for him. Then on Fro's turn, he plays his 3rd island for the game. Then he first plays a Soul Ring. Which Spit does then draw a card, which he also did with the Cursed Totem too. Then Fro paid 4 for his commander Urza, then passes over to Spit. Spit does not keep the fish on the board anymore. Then he plays a Flooded Strand for turn, which he fetches to get a Volcanic Island. Then he pays 2 for a Grim Monolith, then passes the turn over to me. On my turn, I do play a Guy's Cradle for land. Tap in the Cradle for a Carpet of Flowers. Then I move to combat, and I hit Fro with my Atraxa for 7, which I didn't gain 7 through the lifelink. Then I moved over to main phase 2, float 3 blue from the Carpet of Flowers. I used 1 of the blue for a Soul Ring. Then the remaining 2 and the Soul Ring for a Displacer Kitten, which I know I should have realized I needed to play that first and then the Soul Ring so that way I could bounce the Atraxa. My bad, guys. Then on Ed's turn, he does pay 2 for a Grim Monolith. Something I did forget to mention, he did Surveil whenever he needed to Surveil. More than likely, I won't repeat all of it. But he also does cast a Arcane Signet, floating 1 colorless to the Grim Monolith. Then using that 1 colorless and the Arcane Signet, and he plays another Mana Rock, Felwar Stone. But everyone, if it does look like we are missing triggers, for the most part we have not missed a trigger. We try not to, and we try to help each other out, but I'm not going to always say that someone surveilled, someone scried, or anything like that. Now on Fro's turn, he immediately casts a Resculpt, targeting the Cursed Totem, which to all of us seemed fair. So we all just let it resolve. That does give Ed a 4/4 elemental, which then Fro attempted to cast a Sensei's Divining Top, which then I put a Fierce Guardianship on the stack, which triggered my kitty, targeting Atraxa. Then in response to the kitty's trigger, Ed then casts Path to Exile targeting Atraxa, making the target fizzle out, but the counter did resolve, so Fro does not have a Sensei's Divining Top. And I also do not play any basic lands in that deck, so I refuse to look at my library and shuffle, as that is a May ability on Path to Exile. Then Fro pays 3 blue to reconfigure the reality chip onto Urza. Looks at the top, pays 1 for a Manifold Key. Then looks at the top again, pay another 1 for a Mana Vault. Then from there, he ends his turn. On Spit's turn, he plays a Manamo for land for turn. Then after some contemplation going on with him, he actually tried to cast an Underworld Breach to win the game, which I then stopped by putting Pact of Negation on the stack. And when I did cast a Pact of Negation, I targeted my Soul Ring from the Kitty's ability. Then Spit decided to cast Flusterstorm to put it on stack, which the storm count was at 3. So what I did was I untapped the Soul Ring because it's an on cast, tapped the Soul Ring, and tapped the Savannah to pay for the 3 to counter the Flusterstorm, letting the Pact of Negation resolve. He then casts a Delighted Halfling and passes the turn over to me, which my turn was super quick. I just used the Breeding Pool, the Tropical Island, the Savannah, and the Soul Ring to pay for the Pact of Negation costs and ship the turn over to Ed. While I did that, people were making fun of me, but I did put an argument saying that I saved the game, so you're welcome. Then on Ed's turn, we did make sure that he did keep the Grim Monolith on or tapped so that it would not untap during the untap step. Then he paid 1 white for an Esper Sentinel and passed the turn over to Fro. So on Fro's turn, he floats 5 colorless, floating 1, and attempted to cast Karn the Great Creator, which that would stop a lot of our decks. So Spit responded with a Force of Negation on the stack, pitching a Muddle Mixture, which then resolved. Fro then used the colorless mana from the Mana Vault, tapped the Manifold Key to untap the Mana Vault using the Manifold Key's ability. Then tap the Mana Vault for 3 colorless for an Unwinding Clock. I was shocked that's actually resolved. Then at which that point we noticed that the Esper trigger should have happened, so Fro did pay 1 extra for the Karn, then he paid 2 from top of the library to cast a Spellskite. He also then played his 4th island. Then from the top of his library, he casted an Emery Lurker of the Lock, milling the top 4 cards of his library, which I believe the cards were Island, Mystical Tutor, Force of Negation, and something else I don't remember. Then from there, he realized that he should have played this first, but he casted a Veldakian Archmage. I'm pretty sure he would have won if he would have casted that first. But he went ahead and shipped it over to Spit, untapping all of his artifacts with Spit's untap step. Then Spit does play a Scalding Tarn, immediately cracking it for an Underground Sea. Then he taps a total of 5 mana, 1 including the Delighted Halfling, to cast Kraum, which we were not able to counter due to the Delighted Halfling. Then he pays 2 for a demonic tutor. I then responded by paying 1 green for a wardly tutor, so I wanted a tutor with him. However, Fro responded and he paid 1 blue and casted an offer you cannot refuse. Now he did not put it on the middle of the battlefield for us to see, but it was from the top of his library, so kind of trust us when that's what he casted, which I decided that I wanted to take because, you know, money, and I love money. And he honestly thought I had a collector's oof, which after that resolved, I told him I don't even run collector oof, so whatever. But then Spit went ahead and shipped it over to me. So on my turn, I did float 4 blue mana from Carpet of Flowers, since Fro does have 4 blue mana available, or 4 islands, I should say. I used one of the treasures to tap for black. Then I tapped a total of 9 for Atraxa to look at the top 10 again. The Atraxa did resolve, so I went ahead and looked at the top 10 of my library. This time around, I chose Mox Opal for Artifact, Eternal Witness for a creature, Dark Ritual for an instant, Beseech the Mirror for sorcery, and Tundra for land. And put the rest on the bottom, which I did the other one too. Then I played Tundra for my land for turn. Tap the Tundra for white to cast Silence, which on cast, Spit drew his second, or he drew his card because it was the second spell played. Then I targeted Atraxa with the kitty again. But once again, Ed does not want me to have fun and cast Snap, targeting the Atraxa in response to the trigger. After much contemplation, I let it resolve. Then from there, Fro went ahead and shuffled his library through Urza to try to look for a counter, which he wasn't able to. So he exiled that spell, then he looked at the top card of the library through the reality chip to see if there was a counter. And once again, he failed to find. So at this point, I'm pretty sure you guys know, I want to win the game. So I played a Mox Opal, which triggered the kitty again, untapping the Soul Ring. Then I tapped the Mox Opal for black. Please do ignore that Atraxa, because I was going to play the Dark Ritual instead. Floating 3 black mana. And so I used the 3 black mana plus the Soul Ring, floating on colorless, to cast Beseech the Mirror, bargaining with the Soul Ring, which I ended up tapping the Mox Opal in response to float blue. Which at that point I was doing the hand gestures because Fro was asking how I was able to tap from the Mox Opal, which I reminded him that treasures are indeed artifacts. So the spell, of course, resolved because no one could really answer. So I went ahead and searched for Thassa's Oracle. And in response to the ETB, using the treasure for a black, I used demonic consultation. Once again, I do not play any basics, so I call Forest, plopping my entire deck to the exile zone. And then Thassa's Oracle resolved the ETB, making me the winner of today's game. Yay! Well, that was a lot of fun for our first cEDH gameplay. If you guys want to join some gameplays with us, follow us on Twitter X at UCommanders. I do post when we want to start scheduling games out with people using our calendar. And at that point, we'll be able to invite you to our Discord channel so that way you guys can also play with other people as well. Discord will be free to use. We're not going to do any like Patreon or anything like that. But yeah, if you do like the video, hit that like button. Comment down below again to see what decks you want us to play. And make sure you do subscribe so that way you could enjoy some future content. Alright guys, have a great day.